we're always asked, okay, if you have the gift of healing, then why don't you just go and clear out hospitals? Well, number one, we don't believe that's how it operates. It operates as the Spirit wills, not as we will. And it's almost like you're asking us to do something that Jesus didn't do and the apostles didn't do, because here and there it said that everyone was healed, but that didn't happen in all the places, for sure. So, and, for example, in Corinth, when he says, many of you are sick and some have died, well, obviously it was because of sin, right? But even there, it's not like you just go and heal. So plenty of people are sick because we don't take care of our bodies properly. We're not necessarily guaranteed instant healing. Some are sick because of sin. So if it's not that we have the power to do this, as I understand gifts of healing, it's plural, is one thing. So it could be in different ways through different people. But I have colleagues that see an unusually high percentage of people who are deaf healed when they pray for them, and others have had manifestation in another way. But it's always as the Spirit wills, as we will. So look, Jim, that when we were together with Justin, and we look forward to that the full 3+ hours being released just on its own. Very, very much. We were candid in that one. We agreed to name names and everything, contrary to today. And we were as candid as we could be, right? We all made each other a little uncomfortable, which was part of the process. But I said then that I'm almost sure I said it, that I absolutely saw where Justin was coming from, his compassion, going to the healing meetings, not seeing people healed. And that I stopped going to like mass healing meetings in the States years ago because it grieved me too much to see the people who weren't healed and they didn't get attention and there wasn't ministry to them. So I'm 100% with you that things can be done better. And I do believe we should see God move more, but in particular, where we seem to see it most in our friends around the world, especially as the gospel is going into new areas, just as Acts, gospel going into new areas, people hearing for the first time, that the signs and wonders attest the preaching of the gospel, that Jesus indeed is risen from the dead, and that this message that we're bringing is authoritative. So that pattern continues. And I think you'd be thrilled, Jim, because you have a heart for the Lord. You obviously care about people suffering. I think you'd be thrilled to see some of the amazing things God is doing around the world. It's primarily not on Christian TV and in front of big stadiums in America, but these things are happening on the ground all over, and they are glorifying Jesus. And the same miracles that took place in Acts, these kinds of things are happening.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that, Jim? I mean, do you just disagree with that? Would you say that they're faking it, or what are your thoughts?
I think there are people who are faking it, but my claim is not that every alleged healing is somebody faking it. I would just, in response to that, point out two things. I think Michael would agree with me that there are a lot of charlatan activities and people out there doing things in the name of Christ, claiming healings. They're putting on great sideshows and using it as a grift to get money out of weak and vulnerable and desperate people. I don't think that can be denied. Nor would I deny that that God heals people today according to his own will. So if Michael's position is that God heals as he wills in response to the prayers of his people, then that is my position. God heals as he wills in response to the prayers of his people. Again, I don't believe that all of God's works have ceased, nor that his power has ceased, or that he no longer heals people and no longer answers the prayers of his people. That's not a cessationist doctrine. So if you're wanting me to argue for that, I can't do that because that's not my position. So are there missionaries? Are there people praying for people overseas where men and women who have diseases are healed of them, sicknesses are healed of them, and it happens in conjunction with the pure preaching of the gospel? Yes, I would agree with that. That probably does happen. There are probably miraculous, inexplicable events that happen all over the world because God is still active. But is he working through people who have miraculous abilities to heal at will? I don't think that he is. Is he working through people who have the ability to perform miracles? I don't think that he is. I think there's a lot of nonsense that goes on in charismatic circles that that cast doubt on a lot of the claims. Like the whole thing that happened, Michael, right before you and I met in Cincinnati, the "show me the toes" thing that we mentioned, where the lady claimed that she had her toes miraculously regrown. As far as I know, that website, showmethetoes.com, is still up, and we're still waiting for the proof of that. That's the easiest thing in the world to prove. By this point, I it's a lie. I think that even the most minimally discerning person could say that was fabricated. We shouldn't even accept that. And so I think that there's a lot of lies that take place, a lot of grifts, a lot of actors, a lot of people who are healed of psychosomatic illnesses that take place. Are there people whose limbs are being regrown, whose digits are being regrown, who are absolutely stone cold blind, who all of a sudden are given 20/20 vision in an instant? These are the things that I question. Those are the things that I see taking place in the New Testament. And by those who claim to have these gifts and be where all these miracles are taking place, those are the things that I'm not seeing. I see a lot of people who, has your vision increased or gotten better? And you saw this in the cessationist movie, people raising these issues of these quote unquote healings that get a lot of press. But then when you press in too far, it turns out to be a much ado about nothing, a big nothing burger.